So as you can see, there was a rusty bit in there which I've had to take out, so I've made a new piece to fit in there. So I'll get that welded in place. This side seems to be okay. Yeah, I've got to take that piece off there as well. Yeah, I'll just grind it. I just put some silver paint on. It's kind of reacted a little bit. But anyway, I'll keep it clean until we put the vinyl over it. You can see both sides now. I've got both sides off. The same on this side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shorten these. What I want to end up with is two pieces like that. So I'm going to cut it right at the base there, and take this piece out, which will fit to the other rod on the canvas. The reason I'm going down there is so I can get a really good weld on that square, on that flat stock there. So I'll cut it there, and then this one, the same thing. Take this section out. I could just cut it and then put the hole in it again, but what I want to do is I want to use a flat stock to go on the other side when we rebuild it. It should be exactly the same size as that. That's the theory behind it anyway. We'll see how it works and I'll weld it together. So it's not much, I've just put a bit of silver paint on it. Not a matching colour, but it doesn't matter because the Tiny's going to come over here anyway. So I've made this piece up. It's aluminium, so that what will happen now is that'll fit in there like that underneath, and that'll be put self-tappers in, then that goes back onto that piece there. But as I say, what we'll do is we'll build this up now, put a nice big padding on it, and then probably bolt it from underneath, drop it in there on some studs, and then tighten it from underneath, because we can still get into it. So it's nice. It's a nice line right the way across. So that's them painted up. They're just painted up, but they're going to have the vinyl on them. So I'll leave that to dry for an hour, 45 minutes, and then I can come back and try the door cards in. Then I can reset up the back seat, back, and try and cut the wings down a bit. But I need to know exactly where these back cards are going to sit to where we trim the seat. The bottom seat swab's not a problem because obviously it sits in between the companion bins, but the back one is critical because otherwise it won't look nice. So you can see, and then this is where I welded on the new piece, and then when the trim fits on perfectly as well, which I can show you later once this is dried out. I don't want to put it on just now, and you won't see any of the welds. So as you can see, the side looks better already. I mean obviously this is just silver paint. I think once it's in the grey vinyl it'll look better. So all that complete edge there will be vinyled up to this edge, and then there'll be dark grey carpet on here. And the reason I'm not going to use the vinyl on the edge is when you go to get in the car, because it's limited the space, you'll be kicking this edge or the side all the time, and if it's vinyl it'll rip. So we'll put carpeting up to here. But as you can see, the corner looks quite nice, and that's only cut at the moment. The wire frame is just cut and pushed in, but that's the kind of effect. But obviously we don't need to be pulled around, and so it's tight, and you can see actually in that corner it's two. So what I'll do is I'll work out what that is and rework the frame, but I think that will work really nicely. So you can see it looks a lot better than all done in the silver. Obviously the car's not in the right place yet because I've got to and then on these bins we'll just put a really nice with the spare vinyl that we've got, we'll make a really nice top for it, like an armrest in there. And yeah, pretty happy with that. So you can see I've painted both these now. They're quite heavy, there's a hammerite on them, There's quite a heavy layer on it. It should be good for tomorrow. And hopefully it'll be dry by then. Oh. It should be okay. And then put them in place. And then what we can do then is put the convertible top on. Well, I'll get the convertible top, put the extension pieces, so I've kept them both sides. So this is the pieces that have to come out, so this is the left hand side, it's the same on the right hand side. All I'm going to do is put them extensions into what's on the car now, or on the frame now, and re-weld them in place, and they should fit exactly the same way. The only thing that I've taken out is a mil for the two cuts, so there might be a couple of mil of difference, but I can make that up with a weld because I'm angling the pipe and the bar, so I can get a nice V on it and a nice butt weld all the way around. So there we are. That's how it looks from that side. It's not quite as neat here, but we can make it a lot neater. And then the finishing up will be. So my thinking now is to take all these studs all the way out. They're all obviously pot riveted. I don't like this idea at all. This is some kind of strap that goes to the strap on the hood sticks or the hood frame, and it's not very well done. I think we can come up with something better than that. But what we'll do, I think, is take this off and redo it. When we get the vinyl, we've got two meters, so 1 meter by 2 meters long. There should be enough to redo this in this grey, re-put these back in again, and also make enough to go across here completely as well. So you can imagine, I don't have a strip, but you can imagine when this is built up with foam. What I'm thinking here is maybe a metal plate here. If I can come back a bit, I can see it better. What I'm thinking is a metal plate here, with a couple of studs welded to it, with 2 holes drilled, so you put it down, and before you put the door card in here, you screw it up underneath, and then the foam, and then the grey on top. So it's going to be that dark grey, but not cross-stitched like that. And so that will come up to about here somewhere, and it should be completely in line from here to, in fact, I'll just have a little check. It'll give you an idea. So this is the kind of depth, excuse me, sorry about this, I'm trying to do this with one hand, but that's the kind of depth that it would need to be all the way across to make up for where these rods are and where the foam is. And then, as I say, we'll put some more press studs in on the top here, but we'll put them at different angles. So we'll put one in intermediate in between each one on the other side, so that when we put the tonneau on, it just comes up over the top of the grey foam and clips on, so it's nice and round all the way down. We do the same here, and we'll put some padding in here and make it the same thickness all the way around. I think that'll look really nice. And we can let it sit on top of the rear card with Velcro, so it doesn't come off. And so whatever stage you're at, whether you had the hood on, you can take this piece off. So when they put it away in the winter, they just put the hood on and leave these pieces off, these tonneaus off. Whether you've got the tonneau on or not, it will still look nice here. And then when you've got the tonneau on, it'll look even better, I think. But yeah, so there we are. And as I say, they're only painted silver, but they look okay. But I think the dark grey will look better in there. And the carpet that's going in here is dark grey matting. It's a bit similar to that Land Rover, that bit of Land Rover seat. That's at my old 2A Land Rover. It was a back seat that was in the car before I sold it. Yeah, and I think that'll look nice. And same with the back here, where these 2 cubby holes are, we'll just put a piece coming down, and it'll disguise these as two compartments to put something in. And if you want to get into them, just lift the seat, lift the flap up. Again, we'll Velcro it, lift the flap up, and then you can have access to them. But to be honest, they're not much good, even though they've got locks on them, because if you put something in there, it could roll backwards and forwards. It would be very difficult. And most of the time, they use the boot anyway. So there we are. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll try and fix this back up tomorrow, so that I re-weld the edge in, and then so it fits. I can pull it in and out whenever I want. And obviously you have to imagine the reason it's crumpled is because there's excess now of vinyl, and it's pushing the seat out. So you can imagine when that's pulled back tight and it's hog ringed again, it'll be nice and tight, and it should fit in beautifully over those. And these arches, they're not, the covers are just on, they're not glued in yet. So they're not quite straight either. But we'll put some foam on them first. Anyway, that's where we're at. Pretty happy with that. So we'll crack on. I think on that note, I'm going to call it a night. This is Sunday night, and we'll catch you during the week when we get on a bit further, hopefully.